Good morning and welcome to Urban Update. I am Alberto Vasallo. Now on the show this morning, Boston Public Schools Superintendent Tommy Chang stops by for a chat. Also on the program, more than 250 top Massachusetts business leaders get together to tackle pressing public policy challenges. And we'll tell you about a unique fundraiser this week where you can actually win 2 tickets, listen to this, to the ESPY Awards in LA, simply by helping out a leading organization whose focus is to help and to end hopelessness in Boston. But up first, now last week, Boston police shot and killed a man in Dorchester, who they claimed refused to drop his gun when ordered to by police officers. Now, in an attempt to be proactive, Boston police did meet with black leaders at Boston Police Headquarters and showed them a video which appears to corroborate Boston Police's account that officers returned fire only after the 29-year-old man shot at them first. Now, both Boston Police Commissioner William Evans and Suffolk District Attorney Dan Conley were present, as well as our next guest. We've come on this morning to share what went on during that 90-minute meeting with authorities. So we welcome now our good friend, Boston NAACP President Michael Curry, and Boston City Councilor Tito Jackson. Welcome to Urban Update, and thank you so much for stopping by. So let's put in perspective for those who may be tuning in. This was the shooting that happened on Loretto and Stanwood Streets about a week and a half ago, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and there was a video. Let's tell people, where did that video come from?
There were 2 videos, one from an angle across the street, maybe at, I would say, 40, 50 yards, and then a closer distance, and they were both residences had videos in front of their homes.
Okay, so you guys, so this takes place, and I would imagine, Tito, that both Michael, Tito, yourself, and other leaders, you get a phone call, or how does this meeting occur?
So what I would say is this actually stems from the Angelo West case that happened on Humboldt Avenue, in which a police officer was shot by an individual getting out of a vehicle. Right after that, about 24 hours after that, we received a phone call from the commissioner. He said, we'd like you to come in and view the video. One of the caveats that we had in viewing that, and Michael said this, Russell Holmes said this, all of us said, don't only show us this one.
Right.
Any time that there is a police-involved shooting, we want to have this type of debriefing, whether or not it's as clear in that case, or in other cases where there may not have that level of clarity.
Okay, so you guys want to set a precedent.
Right. I mean, the challenge for Boston, and I think, again, and Tito and I have had this conversation, it really sets Boston apart from other cities. Chicago's been torn up over this in the last year or so with the Laquan McDonald shooting, and even as early as this week, the mayor of Chicago announced that they're going to have a 60-day policy where within 60 days after a shooting, they're going to release a video. We're already beyond that there is a release of the video here. The challenge is when you do it, how you do it, who's in the room, and how we respond to what we've seen. And that's where we're trying to still sort some of that stuff out.
And that response, I think Michael definitely sets up a really important point. Our objective is not to go in, and we are not the DA, to go in and to make a declaration as to whether or not the shooting is substantiated or not. That is up to the DA to make that declaration. But what I believe our job is one, to view it, but also two, to put forward any irregularities, any questions relative to that. And I think the declaration is something that and I think we've all tried to stay away from making that actual official declaration, because that is actually not our role.
Right, but having you at the table right away, transparency, I think is very important. And from a community point of view, I think this was a very fresh and new approach that Boston Police should take some credit for doing and reaching out to you guys.
Yeah, so the case that Tito mentions, the West case, the shooting of the police officer, was a great example and a great opportunity for the city to do it the right way. So we were in within 24 hours, but it was also about asking questions around when will the family see the video. It was about making sure, if you may recall, there was protests that happened at the scene while the body was in the street, and people were upset. The Black Lives Matter movement with Twitter and Facebook, people can get to a scene within minutes. And now it allows for us to at least set whatever narrative we can get from those videos. We can then communicate that. We're cautious, though, because the investigation still needs to sort of bear out what actually happened. But there are some things that we can get from the videos and communicate, and we're still working through how we do that.
Yeah, and I want to kind of get you know, I know that you guys said this was great. It was awesome, but there's some tweaks and there's some stuff that you guys would like to see happen. And I don't want you to speak for the whole group, but what would you like to see maybe improved in the future?
Well, I would say, one, I appreciate the transparency, and this does set Boston aside. Russell Holmes, as well as many members of the Boston City Council, including myself, have also pushed for body cameras. It's not going to work every single time, and we can't count on Michael possibly having a camera on the back of his house.
So we got lucky.
Okay.
Yes, and so I believe that body cameras would also, it would protect all involved, and I think that is something that's simple. And also, we've never actually had dash cams in the city of Boston, and I believe those are complements that would actually help us.
Yeah. So you feel good about what transpired in terms of after the incident?
Yeah, I feel good. I think there's some concerns I have around our messaging because, again, we're being invited in the room and you ask for concerns. One of my concerns is who gets invited, right? Because I think there is a tendency by any entity to invite people that are friendly to an administration. I think the fact that Tito, Ayanna Presley, Council Presley, Representative Holmes is there, it makes me feel confident that there are strong voices, critical thinkers, critical folks that are going to ask the right questions in the room. But there's others that should be invited, some other women that should be in the room. I think we're working through that. And then two is the messaging. We don't want to walk out and have 20 different narratives about what we just saw. So there's a need for us to get in the room and say, okay, how will we communicate this in a way that's respectful to the family, that may not have seen the video, the family of the shooter, if there's a shooter in that case. And we've received calls saying, hey, you guys need to figure this out and maybe speak with one unified voice. We need to figure that out.
And I think the last point is that we hope that this never happens again.
Right.
We hope that we actually are able to deal with mental health issues, that we're able to deal with unemployment issues, and the wealth and economic disparity that causes specific situations like this too often in specific parts of the city of Boston.
But I like that there's a plan in place and you guys are at the table. All right. Thank you so much for coming by this table this morning, and we'll keep tabs on this situation. Thank you so much. All right, guys. All right, coming up, Boston Public School Superintendent Tommy Chang makes his Urban Update debut right here, coming up next.